Usage and interest in social media, and companies trying to understand how to make the most of that social media landscape, be it from the using of LinkedIn through to Renren in China. And again, I think there's early days in Asia Pacific for using that well. As we see the growth of smartphones, of the pad tablets, PCs such as iPad, Samsung Galaxy, we are looking at how do we use that and leverage those technologies from a recruitment perspective. I mean, when we talk about online CVs, I think what social media is doing for a candidate is actually helping them have a 3D CV. It's the first time that, there's a lot greater richness of data on someone, so they can have their CV and integrate it with a LinkedIn profile and a Twitter feed and maybe slide share in terms of what they presented on. So it's 3D. It's giving someone a much rounder view. And so I think that will, by the nature of it, will grow. And I think some of the recent developments on Facebook where they're trying to get into the professional space, I think the broadest sense of the Web 2.0, or as we move into Web 3.0 world, will continue to grow and have a huge impact on recruitment. I think we see a lot of organisations suffering in Asia from quite high attrition and turnover, significant turnover, and I believe organisations are really looking at making sure that they can find people who have values to match their own organisational values, which therefore drives engagement and retention. I mean, evidently they're looking for the relevant skills for jobs and so on, but I do believe there is a recognition of the need to be almost achieving value matches for organisations. Time is always precious, but I think it's important to step back and really have a look at how are you hiring, what's your strategy, and making sure that we're not just thinking about what we need to do in 2011, but what's coming 2012, 2013. I would also, from an external branding perspective, I would recommend working very closely, the HR teams working very closely with their colleagues in marketing to make sure they can leverage that. And at the same time, I would strongly advise organisations to make sure their data and metrics for HR and resourcing are very well defined and measured. Recruitment drives the retention in organisations as well, and employer branding is about translating that reality of working somewhere to a candidate so they understand it. So if you're doing employer branding very well, you're selling your company accurately, you're positioning it accurately, which is helping manage the expectations of candidates. And hence when they join they become loyal and retained employees. From my experience working in different geographies on employer branding, great employer branding drives down the cost of talent acquisition. So what it will enable organisations to do is leverage their own brand to attract the very best candidates without having to spend as much on potentially third-party agencies and so on. So really there's a strong business case as well.